So interesting that Apple is doing this, since it seems to increasingly want to own the entire consumer experience. Why?
This is a market, I think, which has increasingly become a commodity. If you sign up for a Comcast connection somewhere, you'll be getting your router delivered for you. It's therefore not somewhere where they can probably get a massive return. It costs money, of course, to develop this stuff, and so it's not a product I think that a lot of people are going for.
So does it mean there'll be significant amounts of resources diverted to other things?
Probably not. But equally, if you look at what other competitors are doing now, Amazon builds routers into some of its Echo-type devices, and so you might imagine those sort of people are going to work on the rumored equivalent that Apple has.
Now, another interesting story out by our colleagues is that it turns out, the first line says, it turns out not all iPhone 7s are created equal. In fact, some of them have different chips.
Right.
Explain this to me.
So they're not created equal, but they end up essentially equal. What's happening is that we think Apple are kind of throttling the performance of chips from Qualcomm to ensure that they're in line with modem chips from Intel. These are things which literally connect to the network, allow you to have a phone conversation or a web conversation.
So this means, in theory, the Verizon and AT&T iPhone 7 should perform differently, but in fact they don't.
Right. So the Verizon chip is the Qualcomm chip used in the Verizon phones is a little bit better than the one from AT&T, but in practice they perform at pretty much the same level.
Couldn't this upset some customers?
Well, probably not the customers themselves, not you or me, because we're getting the same performance. But it means that the iPhone potentially is not as fast as other handset makers who are using only Qualcomm chips, not ones from Intel, and therefore it's a play by Apple to manage their supply chain effectively.
Now, last thing I want to talk to you, everyone's questioning the future under President-elect Trump, what that will be like. Of course, he has talked a lot about Apple bringing jobs back to the United States. People have told me it's very unlikely iPhones would ever be manufactured here. What's your take?
There are three things to this. On the one hand, manufacturing costs in China are infinitely cheaper, 10 times cheaper for a manufacturing position per hour. Secondly, if there was manufacturing itself to come back, it probably wouldn't create a lot of jobs because automation is so much better than it was in the days of yore. A robot costs 75 cents an hour, a human in China $4, in the US about 40. And the third thing is, in the past, when there were these repatriation breaks bringing money back to the US, all that happened was that it paid for share buybacks, increased dividends, and there's no reason that would be unlikely to continue.
So investors benefit, not jobs.
That's more likely to be the case, yes.